Greetings from Texas, AV Nation. My name is Gerald Stevens, Associate Principal and Director of AV Systems at Marsh PMK International. Over the last 20 years or so, we have seen the design and construction industry migrating from AutoCAD to Building Information Management, or BIM, platforms for managing the project delivery process. The most widely adopted platform has been Revit. A few years ago, we noted the majority of the architects we work with were producing their projects in Revit. Now, they didn't require that we adopt that workflow, but it became clear that we should follow suit instead of asking them for AutoCAD backgrounds to work with all the time. After spending a lot of time researching the platform, we decided we needed to take the leap of faith and begin the sometimes painful process of learning Revit so we could offer that service to our clients. I began my journey about 3 years ago, starting by just exporting DWGs out of Revit for me to work with, as we have done for decades. But as I learned what Revit could do, I realized that we should try to leverage the power of Revit into our own workflow. Revit offers amazing automation capabilities for electrical, mechanical, and structural engineers, but they so far have elected to all but ignore the low voltage industry. I searched for weeks for any information on the web, articles, YouTube videos, forums, for anything that directly addressed AV systems, and there just were none to be found. So I started one step at a time, scouring resources for methods that applied to others that might be adapted to AV. Since then, I have developed a workflow using the tools in Revit that are now paying off big time in terms of efficiency, accuracy, streamlined coordination with other disciplines, and far more detailed documents than ever. So I thought this might be something that others in our little industry might want to know. I believe the Revit for AV Systems series of training videos can save you the years of time and research that I have gone through figuring out how to apply Revit to AV, and can get you up and running in Revit much faster than working on your own. Now, I confess that I have something of an ulterior motive in that the more of us in AV that adopt Revit and demand more Revit support from the manufacturers, the more likely they will be to make the considerable investment in producing libraries of families for their products. And the more they publish, then the less I have to create myself from scratch. Now, this series is not intended to be Revit training. There are plenty of resources on the web and classroom training options for general Revit training. So you should learn at least the basics of Revit before you start this series. This is intended to explain the techniques that I have learned that speed up the design and documentation process, especially and specifically for AV systems. I'll walk you through the process of creating your own library of Revit assets, beginning with your custom shared parameters. What do you want to know? Whatever it is, you can add it to the shared parameters. Then we'll look at building your library of equipment families, starting with what the manufacturers already publish, and then editing them with the additional data that you want for your work. We'll touch on converting your library of standard AutoCAD blocks and details into native Revit entities, then start modeling an AV system in an example model, just like you would get from an architect. We'll discuss adding intelligence to families that can perform calculations that you frequently perform in a spreadsheet or a wizard, and saving you tons of time jumping from one application to another and entering the same information into multiple apps. We'll look at doing details such as rack elevations, creating powerful schedules, and generating schematics or block diagrams right in Revit. Sound interesting? Ready to take the dive? Then let's take the first step. Learn Revit, invest in this course, and then buckle up for the ride. Thanks for watching.